This
with the supply.
conference will now be recorded.
Hey, thanks for that. Let me know, guys, when you're facing any difficulties in viewing my screen. I hope it is visible and I'm audible. So, Srinivas, we started with the supply planning concept. We're done with 2 days. This is our third day in supply planning. So I would suggest you to go through those videos and make a note of all your doubts, and in the next sessions, we can cover those doubts, or we can extend some extra time for you, and then uh, make them completed. So this supply planning, there were three major algorithms that are available. One is a supply planning heuristic, then a supply propagation heuristic, and then the optimizers. So so what exactly this supply plan does is that, if you have a supply chain, for example, in here, so there is this customer called Amazon, and then it is connected to a warehouse, and then it is further connected back to two plants. So if you say that the demand at the Amazon for a particular product is 100, and then once you run the supply planning algorithm, it takes the demand element and it propagates that demand to the available supply chain network, and then it tries to come up with a supply plan and tries to meet the demand. So now these three algorithms works in a different way. When we are implementing the supply planning with the clients, we have to sit with them and understand their requirements, and what is the thing that they want to achieve and how they want to plan the supply chain. Accordingly, we have to come up with an algorithm, and then we have to configure that and deliver that. The heuristics works on quotas. A quota is, like, if you have two sourcing options, for example, in here, the the warehouse is connected to two plants, and two plants can ship the finished good. So now from the warehouse level, when you're dealing with a heuristic, you will go and you will say that I want zero point 0.4 from plant 1 and zero point 0.6 from plant 2. So if the demand is 100 at the warehouse, and the demand 100 is coming from obviously the connecting customer. So if the demand is 100, then zero point 0.4, that is 40 units of demand, will be sent to the plant 1, 60 units will be sent to the plant 2. And plant 2, based on the BOM that is being maintained, in IBP language we call it as a production source header. A plant will come up with the production plan, and then it will, after the production is done, it will ship that 60 units to the warehouse, and the warehouse will receive 60 from plant 2, 40 from plant 1, total is 100, and the warehouse will send that 100 to the Amazon so that the demand would be met. Okay. um, so on day one of the supply planning module, we have spent a great deal of time on all the master data that are there, and we have loaded data into those master data. On the day two, we have seen a couple of scenarios on heuristics, that how quotas will be maintained, and what if I tweak a particular quota and how it will system would work, and then how we have to maintain the quotas. Like, if the summation of the quotas is more than one, then a heuristic will fail, and also the heuristic will give us a business log, and it says that the algorithm got failed because in this particular node the quotas is exceeding the maximum limit, that is one, and it always has to be one. The summation has to be one. For example, for this warehouse and that product, the summation of all the quotas has to be one. So that's a thing. So today there are some more scenarios that I wanted to highlight on in the heuristics, and we'll configure them, and then we'll see the results. Okay, Srini.
Clear to me.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's clear to me.
I didn't understand.
Yeah, it's clear to me that what happened in the past
Yeah.
sessions.
Okay, great. Thanks, guys. So think we don't have funny yet. Deepak is also not there.
In the first session, you are uploaded all the master data in the session only.
Yes, in the session itself. So you opened every master data, and then I loaded, in the session itself. Okay, please go through that, because that is a main supply chain master data, and then that would be common for all the heuristics and optimizer and other supply propagation heuristics.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so so yeah, let's start, guys. I mean, let's not waste time, so others will join in between. So what I did, guys, is that I simplified the network, um, made it simple, so that we can analyze the results in much better. So going forward, we can make it complicated. So for now, this is our network. There is one single customer called Amazon. It is connected to S12 warehouse. It is further connected back to S12 plant 1 and S12 plant 2. And now we are dealing with a product called as a S12. So S12 is a product. So what is the scenario that I have here? So I have a receipts balancing scenario. Okay. So this scenario will occur when the supply planning algorithms comes up with the oversupply or insufficient supply. Okay, these are the two things. We need to balance the receipts. What is a receipt? Receipt is the summation of three different key figures. I mean, the three different key figures, like transport receipts. That means how much is being transported. In this particular example, when I say transport receipts, the ship from location is plant, destination location is warehouse, product is S12. When I say transport receipt is 100, that means this plant is sending to this warehouse a quantity of 100. That is transport receipt. Number one. Number two, production receipt. What does a production receipt means? That means a production is happening at a particular location for a particular product on a particular BOM. That is called a source ID. And third thing is external receipts. So external receipts means externally procuring. So I told that you can create a vendor, and then you can connect that vendor to this plant, and then you can say that this vendor is an mm, external vendor, and then even the vendor also can manufacture S12 and can ship it to the plant 2, so that this plant 1 or 2 can do both in-house and external manufacturing. And in those cases, the external receipts would be there. So there are three kinds of three ways that we can receive a product. So that is what the receipts means. So now that receipts has to be balanced. Why? Sometimes, and in heuristics, there are, we have seen yesterday, there is something called as adjusted key figures. That means heuristic blindly follows the quotas that we maintain. So if I say zero point 0.4 here, zero point 0.6 here, system just splits the demand as 0.4 and zero point 0.6. And sometimes the planner will have a more information or more visibility on their supply chain network. So they might go and say that, okay, heuristic, now I know you're going to give me some computed results, but I got an input that in the plant 102, I'm going to do only a production of 100. So I want to adjust my plan, and I want you to respect this value, that do only 100. And if I say only 100, then obviously heuristics, heuristics, supply propagation heuristics, optimizer, all three would respect this thing called as a adjusted production receipt, and also adjusted transport receipt, and also adjusted external receipt. So when I say adjusted production receipt is 100, then even it bypasses the quotas. Okay, and it does it only does the production of 100, so it can only ship 100. and and finally, you will what's going to happen? You're going to come up with some kind of a insufficient supply scenarios, right? So the demand might be 200, but you're adjusting the plan to 100. What's happening? The insufficient supply is happening, or sometimes oversupply might happen. So when these scenarios are happening, oversupply or insufficient supply, uh, if you want to balance the receipts, so we can do it. There is a that there are options to do it. So let's see that today. So this might happen because of the ratios minimum or adjusted key figures maintained. Okay, to avoid these scenarios, we have receipts balancing functionality. System will balance the receipt, so this is a key here, between different sources of supply to meet the demand more precisely. Okay, and three sources of supplies, we know it. One is a customer source of supply. That means how a customer can source its supply. That means a customer can source it from the DCs and etc. Next is location source of supply, that how a particular location can source its supply. That means a warehouse can get it from plant, a plant can get it from another plant. Basically the transportation lane between the locations. Next is production source of supply. That means where, what is the source for this particular production. So in all these three scenarios, in all these three elements, you can use the balance receipt scope attribute. This is an attribute of these master data. If you go and set that attribute, system would do receipts balancing for you. But for now, let's not do any receipts balancing, and let's run it and try to we'll come up with an oversupply scenario and also insufficient supply scenario, and then we'll see and then we'll run the receipts balancing, and then we'll see how system does the stuff. So now let's say, guys, let's say the Amazon, I'm saying that the demand is 100. So this is an input. Consensus demand is an input. The final demand that the supply planning algorithm has to respect. So you guys know it. So once I say 1,000 is my demand, when I run it, so what happens? That 1,000 would come and hit this warehouse because that is connected to Amazon. So now what happens? What key figure we can see those values? We'll see that it's called dependent demand. Dependent demand is 1,000. If there is another warehouse and if there are quotas maintained between those warehouses, system would split the demand of 1,000 and propagate the demands there accordingly. Right now, if I so here, let's say the quota is 1 second, guys. It is 1. In this case, it has to be 1, right? No other option. But here it could be in 0.5. I think that's what I maintain. This is 0.5 and 0.5. So the warehouse will have the demand of 1,000, right? So now 1,000 would be split into these two locations. So plant 1 will get 500 demand, and the plant 2 will get the 500 demand. So production receipts would be 500. And once the production is done, it does the transport receipts of 500. Same in here also. Plant 2 will also get 500 demand. It does the production of 500. It ships 500 to warehouse. So here, what would be the receipts in warehouse? This would be 1,000 in here. And finally, what warehouse sends to Amazon is 1,000 here, right? So now let's run this simple scenario, and then coming here. So this is a planning view for supply planning. So S12 is our product, location, customer, key figure. So key figure consensus demand. We all know it. Consensus demand is at product and customer ID level. So there is no location dimension here. So the demands, there is no visibility of the location dimension in the demands. I mean, there are other key figures if you want to maintain location demand. So in week 20, I'm maintaining a demand of 1000, saving it. Okay, there's already some I think there are some results already. So let me go and wipe off those results so that we'll start fresh. I hope you guys can see my screen and there is no lag or blur or anything.
Yes.
Hey, thanks. So I'm just deleting the inputs that I have maintained. Just want to start with a plain vanilla run. The previous run results, guys, and then I cannot delete this value because these are the outputs of a supply plan, and basically they're uneditable. That's why you can see that they are grayed out. And then the editable ones are with the white background. That means the planner can go and edit it. The consensus demand as a standard configuration, it is an editable key figure. Planner can go and edit it only in the future periods. But with the configuration, we can make it as uneditable so that no one can edit the consensus demand. Either it is output of some kind of a forecasting run, or maybe it's a copy operator, or maybe integration job is doing, or maybe it's a calculated key figure. Consensus demand is sum of A, B, C. So something like that. So yeah, I'm just running. So now the algorithm itself will wipe out the values of this week 19 because there is no demand. So this is where we run, guys. The Srini, this is for you. So in the Excel planning view, a lot of options are there. We'll touch those options in here, but for now there's advanced button here. So this is where you schedule all your operators, be it a copy operator, be it a forecasting run, uh, 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 be it anything. So you click on this run. It will list what are the available operators for this particular planning area. Click on this S&OP operator. Now it will list what operators are available within that S&OP operator. These are the 5 operators that I have. I'm picking up the heuristic, and now I can give a horizon, and then by default it is taking the current week and then to the end of the time profile that we have maintained, that is 105 periods. We have to pick a scenario, pick a version, pick a planning unit. Planning unit is a sub network in the entire supply chain network that is there in your system. So S12 is a sub network that I have created. Clicking on next, run. Now this is scheduled. So to view the results, you have to click on refresh. You see refresh the planning view without saving any key figure changes. Okay, so week 19 demand has been taken off. The results are 1000. The key figure is customer received. In here we have seen that this is the output, customer receipts. And who's giving that 1000? Amazon. I mean, sorry, the warehouse. S12 warehouse is giving that 1000. No ratios, so no split of the demand, only one source of supply available, that is warehouse. So that's why the entire thing is propagated to warehouse. Now I'm going to the another view, that is a transportation view, that was more from a outbound perspective. Outbound means from a shipping location perspective, supplying location perspective. I'm clicking on transportation, outbound demand. So you can see here, it is at a product location and ship to location, to which location that it is going. So in here, plant 1, the dependent demand is 500, and who's giving that 500? From which location is dependent on this 500? That is S12 warehouse. You see, ship to location, and then the supply happened from plant to the warehouse. Same in here. Plan 102, the dependent demand got 500 because of the quotas that we have maintained, guys. 0.5 and 0.5. The supply become 500. So this is from an inbound perspective. That's why you can see that location ID is warehouse, ship from is a plant 1 and plant 2. Receipts is 500, 500. So yesterday we were discussing, if there is a lead time, then these will make more sense, because if the lead time is 1 week, so here the transport receipts, that means this warehouse location is receiving 500 units from this plant 1. If the lead time is 1, it will receive on week 20, but the supply will happen on week 19. So if I open this view, I can see all this in week 19. The system would push the demands accordingly as per this thing. So, and also if I go to the production view, I can see where the production is happening and etc. So now let's not get in there. So now what I'll do is, I'll say my adjusted production, no, adjusted transport receipts. That means I am fixing the plan, guys, now. So I am saying my adjusted transport receipts is 111. Right? If I say my receipts is 111, now what will happen? So here 111 will be sent to warehouse, 500 will be sent to warehouse. So in total it receives 611. Now the warehouse has only 611, and will it ship only 611 to Amazon? Nope. We have seen it in very, very big font size for heuristic. Heuristic is infinite supply, infinite demand, without any shortages. So now what it will do is, it will still send the customer receipts of 1000 from warehouse, but the remaining values would be available in the key figure called as a projected stock, and it would be negative. So I think that would be what would be 389. Yes, it would be 389 stock is deficit in warehouse to meet the demand of Amazon. So that now the planner will go and work upon that negative projected stocks, and see, like, that, okay, I need to come up with some stock at warehouse, then only I can meet the demands at the Amazon customer. So that's what happens. And let's say that I'll do, let's just keep a bigger value and make it as an oversupply scenario. So I'll say that this is 1000. Transport receive, adjust transport is 1000. Now how much will be received at warehouse? Plant 1 is sending 1000, plant 2 is sending 500. Warehouse would receive total of 1500 units, but the demand is of only 100,000. It will send 1000. The remaining 500 would be becomes a projected stock, a stock lying physically in the location of S12 warehouse. Okay, and now this created an oversupply scenario, right? So let's do that. So just coming here, I'm going to the inbound. So warehouse, ship from is plant 1, plant 2. I'm going to say that the plant 1 has to ship 1000 units. I'm running the, so you see this is white in color, editable. The key figure name starts with adjusted. That means planner can go and adjust it. And yeah, so adjustments would be blindly followed by the any supply planning algorithm. So we talked about it. I'm scheduling it. 1 second, guys. I think I have already enabled the receipts balancing thing. I think, yeah. So now the results would be a balanced results. So this is app called as S&OP operator profiles. So under the supply TS supply planning configuration, three apps are there. S&OP operator profile. So this is our app. Okay, I open it. So no, not this. This. So in here you can keep a filter for this our planning area test config. These are all the operators available. I'm going to the heuristic operator. So these are the options that are available. We'll go in there all the options, but for now there is this thing called as a balance receipt that has been check marked. That means this heuristic run profile named TS based supply heuristic will do the balancing of it. So now I'm going to the edit mode. I'm taking off this balance receipt. I'm saving it. Okay, now there is no balance receipt. This has been saved. So now if I come here, if I do a refresh, system would still stick to that 1000 and and if you guys have observed that it didn't do anything in the plant 102, system will get that intelligence that it don't want to do oversupply, so it will restrict the transportation activity. It will not ship from a plant 102. So anyway, first run me the let me run this heuristic S12. It's finished. So what just happened in here? So the demand is 1000, propagated the demand to the connecting location. Warehouse gets 1000. Warehouse further pushes the demand to its available sourcing options. Quotas are there, 0.5, 0.5. 1000 gets split, 500 plant 1, 500 plant 2. It does the production of 500. But now you're saying adjusted transport is 1000. So normal heuristic, it sends 1000, but it also does the production in plant 2. And it also sends 500 to warehouse. So that's why transport receipts is 1000 in from plant 1. Transport receipts is 500 from plant 2. Okay, so now let me go to this inventory and then let's see all the inventory here. So minimize this and then let's view only for warehouse. So I think we're not interested in all these key figures. Let's not get in there, but just focus on. Okay, now what happened? Product S12, location warehouse. First key figure, dependent demand is 1000. on which it is dependent on. It is dependent on customer. Amazon has 1,000, the entire 1,000 came here. Net demand is 1,000, but the receipts is 1,500. That means it received 1,500 from its connecting locations. I opened another key figure that is called receipts. But if I open transport receipts, I'll see that plant 1 is sending 1,000, plant 2 is sending 500. Receipts is 1,500. How much is being supplied? 1,000. And what happened to the 500? You see, the projected stock is 500. That means that 500 would be lying in that location for the entire future horizon. Now, this is oversupply scenario. Okay, and we don't want that. So what we have to do is we just give the intelligence to the heuristic, and then just say that, don't do this oversupply or insufficient supply. Just balance out my receipts so that I will not have these excess or insufficient scenarios. So what I'll do, I'll go to this operator now, put on edit mode. I'll select that balance the receipts, saving it. Now I'll come here, running the operator.
Good.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. I think you're in a mute or something.
No. Sure, yeah. Yeah, it's finished. I'm doing a refresh now. Yeah, now you can see the demand is 1,000 coming from Amazon. Net demand is 1,000. Receipts is 1,000. Supply is 1,000. No projected stock. Now let's see what happened to my, like which location has done what. So if I go to the inbound here, so you see plant 102 is not doing anything. Only plant 101 did the entire, this thing 1,000 and so now so this is a scenario of the oversupply. So what if I give 700 here and system looks for the demand is 1,000, plant 1 can do 700. You're saying adjusted is 700, input is 700, so receipts would also become 700, but I'm still short of 300 demand. So that is what it does in plant 2. And then you'll receive the total receipts would be 1,000 and projected stock would be 0. Okay, same. I'll say transport receipts is 100 here. Adjusted transport is 100, so plant 1 can only send 100. Transport receipts become 100. Still short of 900 demand. I have another option, plant 2, but the quotas are 0.5, 0.5, doesn't matter. Now I'm in a agenda of balancing the receipts. Production becomes 900. Receipts become 900. Warehouse will receive 1,000, 900 from here, 100 from here. Projected stock would be 0, and then so this is the balance receipt functionality, guys. So here what we have seen, so till now, just a kind of a small recap. First, what we have seen is adjusting the plan. Okay, and we have, so see guys, I mean, whenever I touch upon only one dimension, you have to take the other two dimensions comes in default. Like for example, adjusted production is there, adjust transport, etc. is there. Second is receipts balancing we worked on. We have seen with and without, and we have seen the impact of it at the stocks, because without excess stocks they're lying in the connecting locations. We have seen the production happening accordingly, we have seen the transportation happen accordingly. Okay, so now what is the third thing that we have for today? This is receipts balancing. And so yeah, any other thing that I've left in here? So yeah, so if you don't want any of the transportation lane not to get the balance receipt scope, then you maintain that to one. This attribute T balance receipt scope, which is a transportation balance receipt scope, P balance receipt scope, production balance receipt scope, C balance means customer receipts balance scope. So just set that value to one. So in our this thing here, so I'll go to the master data workbook here, this one. I'll open the transportation lane master data that is called as a location source. I'll open in the edit mode. I'll filter only on what happened for this particular product. So when you open it, guys, it opens in this, like in this color. Oranges will come for all the key attributes, and then the first column would be hidden, first row would be hidden. Just drag this so that you will see the technical names of all these attributes, right? So PRD ID is a technical name, product ID is a description. So usually the planners will see the business descriptions, right? So there is this yes, you see, T balance receipt scope, that means location source receipt scope. So let me filter down on S12. I don't know why all these are coming in. So yeah, the two transportation lanes made. Ship from location is plant 1, sending to warehouse, sending S12 product. Plant 1 or 2, sending to warehouse, sending S12. So if I say 1 here, that means this particular transportation lane would be excluded, and there the quotas would be followed blindly. Okay, now there's another future that the planners can let a part of their supply chain to strictly follow the quotas, other part they want to balance out the receipts to overcome all these insufficiencies or oversupply scenarios. Okay, so that these are the attributes in the respective master data. Okay, and this functionality is only supported by heuristic and supply propagation heuristic. Why not optimizer? Because optimizer itself is a kind of a much more advanced intelligent algorithm. It always comes up with the cost optimal approach. It will never have this excess supply or some kinds of stuff. And you know mm, so yeah, this is not available in the optimizer. Next thing for the day, next is validities. So validities means that you can yesterday we have seen it, right? So again, validity for all three: customer source validity, location source validity, production source validity. You can say that this link between customer and location is not valid in my quarter 1. So this warehouse is going to get shut down in winter season. Let's say it is in somewhere in some other part. Winter, it is really not possible for this warehouse to do any shipments to the customers. In Q4, it is not valid. Same between the locations. That is location source supply validity. And then the production source validity, that inside a plant I have 5 bombs, 5 different production versions, 5 source IDs. So I'll say that in particular time period, source ID 3, source ID 4 not valid. So system would propagate the demand to the available valid options, right? So yesterday, we try to load the data, but it is giving us some errors because of the time formatting. It has to be put in a particular style. So if I go to the location source, so there is one master data called as a location source, which tells about the transportation lanes and the link between two different locations. So there is another master data called as a location source validity. Okay, now I'm putting a common filter. It's called product ID is 12. I think there is nothing maintained for the validity. So location source, two lanes, plant 1 warehouse, plant 2 warehouse. If I go to the validity, there's nothing there. So this will have just the ship from location product ID, and then valid from and valid to. So this is the time horizon we have to maintain. You can say like Q1 to um, you know Q3, and that's it. It is valid only between Q1 and Q3. Or you can say like Jan to March, and then you can say that say July to December. So between April to June, this particular combination will not be selected. So here you should be ideally saying that plant 2 is a warehouse, it is S12, and so if you maintain the records like this, then this link will become invalid between April to June, because you're saying that it is valid only between Jan to March and July to December, right? So I can now open this in edit mode and then I can save it, but somehow I'm getting these crazy errors on the date formatting. It has to be in a particular format. So what I did is I have made an CSV template. I downloaded the template. I kept those records in the template. So let me run a job, data integration job. This is an integration job. I'm clicking on plus here, loading the master data, only this particular master data. It's called location source validity. I'm browsing for that file, and the separator is comma. Operation type is either insert mode or replace or delete. We'll touch base on it, guys, sometime later. Insert update, clicking on save. Okay, got saved. Let me bring out that. Okay, so this is what I maintain. Plant 102 warehouse S2. It is valid from April 1 to April 30th. So in today it is not valid. Okay, I just loaded these values, and and also there's another setting. If you say that sources of supply validity, you have to check mark this. Then all the sources of supply validity comes in picture. So running the algorithm once again without the validities, so we can see the comparison. So you can see that the system has come up with, as there is no balance received. I already told it adjusted is 1,000, but still it followed the quotas that are there because there is no balance received. Let me take off this adjusted. I don't want to adjust the plan any further. I'm trying to revert back all the things that we have done with the adjusteds and all that stuff, so that okay. Uh, so just a small thing, guys. So when you maintain the adjusted transport receipts of 1000, system also propagates adjusted transport supply. Okay, so you have to delete at both the places. That means at the receipts, if you're saying that the warehouse would receive plant one from plant one a unit of 1000, and the equivalent key figure, the shadow key figure, that is adjusted transport supply. The actual name is transport supply adjusted. So there, from a supplying location perspective, plant one is sending to warehouse. So there, the 1000 also will get saved. That's why we have to delete at both the places. So now I'm deleting it here, and then and also I have to delete the transport supply. Let me go here. And one more thing, guys, if you keep any filter on any of the workbook here, that would be propagated across the planning view. So I kept a filter at inventory in the viewing only for warehouse. You can see that warehouse location has been filtered across the locations. You see here transport supply adjusted in the one with white background, editable key figure. So this also comes in here. I maintained 1000 at receiving location, supplying location also 1000 came here. So imagine if there is a lead time, system will have that intelligence to also do with the lead time offset. So week 3 you say I'm receiving 1000, adjusted plan is 1000. If the lead time is 2 days, on week 1 the supply would become 1000, adjusted supply, I mean to say. Yes, now we have the the results without any settings, without any adjustments. The initial results, as per the quotas, 1000 is a demand, 1000 is a demand pushed onto warehouse, point 0.5 point 0.5 split, 500 at plant one, 500 at plant two. Okay, so now I'll do one thing. So now I'll go and change the demand at Amazon customer. So instead of 1000, I'll say 2222, saving it. So now what I'll do, I have a record maintained for location source of supply validity, and I said my plant 2 is not no longer valid from the current time period. Then I'll go to the operator. I'll say that this heuristic algorithm has to respect the source of supply validity. Edit mode, source of supply validity, save it. So now what happens, guys? So as the plant 2 is not there, it is not valid, but the quotas you maintained are like 0.5 here, 0.5 here, but heuristic will have the intelligence that it will, as there is no other option available, it pushes everything to plant 1 and does the supply of 2222 from plant 1 itself. So imagine there is another plant like plant 3. The quotas you maintained are 0.33, 0.33 and 0.33, right? Equal ratios. You take off plant 2. Now you have two options available, two sources available, plant 1, plant 3. Now this ratio, this quota 0.3 would be split across equally. So now heuristic will work with 0.5 and 0.5, and it pushes 0.5 to plant 1, 0.5 to plant 3. Okay, so I hope the run is completed. Demand is 2222, receipts for 2222. Let's go to the transportation side and see what's happening. Yeah, you see here the receipts is 22222 only in plant 1. Nothing has been done on plant 102 because it is no longer valid. Okay, so what do we have next? Next is lot size parameter, guys. So yeah, but just please make a note that this is not lot sizing procedures. This is just the lot sizes. So lot size parameters affect the quantity of lots. Again, that is the transportation or the production quantities per period and per source of supply. Okay, two major important points here. So lot sizing procedures are majorly about how to bundle the demand for several periods. But whereas lot size parameters determines the range within which the planning algorithm can choose a lot size. So I think basic definitions of lot sizes. Three things: minimum lot size, maximum lot size, and rounding value. Okay, um, and we have the lot sizes in production source of supply, in transportation source of supply, and customer source of supply. So let me go in here and then do open the location source and maintain some. Okay, two lanes, plant 1, plant 2 connected to warehouse, quotas are 0.5, 0.5. Now the plant 2 is anyway invalid, so system does the entire supply from the plant 1 itself. So now I'll say the minimum is 1000, the maximum is 3000, the rounding value is in 50. Okay, okay, now let me maintain different demands. So we have these three things, three influencers, and we'll see how these lot sizes will influence. Let me close this location. So doesn't matter now. So I'm coming here, going to the consensus demand. So I'll say what do we maintain? So one is 1000, right? So first here I'll maintain 900, which is less than of the minimum lot size that can happen between plant 1 and warehouse. So next is 1500, and what is the maximum? 3000, right? So we'll say so 4000. Now let's see the intelligence of heuristic in here. So even though we introduce these constraints into the supply chain in terms of the lot sizes, but still system will try to come up with something. And guys, this is heuristic, right? Infinite supply, infinite this thing. So so the demand would be met, but the potholes, I mean the roadblocks or the bottlenecks, we can see it at the stocks in negatives and etc. So these are the three demands that I mean running it. So let me bring up the demand also so that we'll see the demand at the the warehouse and see how. Come on. And I think we don't need an adjusted also. Staying that off. Okay, we'll see. We have seen some crazy results here, right? So let's see that. I'll also bring the stocks so that how the stocks are getting projected. So yeah, first things first. So the demand is 900 on week 20. Okay, at warehouse. So now the the transportation happened of 1,000 units. Why? Because the minimum is 1,000. So it did 1,000, and the remaining it did the shipment of 900 to the customer, so that it meets the customer demand. The remaining 100 it would be projected for future. Okay, I think next week we have a demand of 1,500. So 1,500 demand came into the warehouse. So now the receipts happened for 1,400. Okay, I maintained here 50. Oh, I should have maintained 500, guys. But yeah, so next day it did only 1,400. It got that intelligence that why? Because 100 is anyway available at my warehouse projected stock. So I'll consume that 100. Now just do me a shipment of only 1,400, and the maximum lot sizes will not be respected by the uh, by the heuristics. Will be respected only with the optimizer. So now let me just maintain only my rounding values. So now let's see how it happens. I maintain it as 1,000, 500 there, and then so I changed 500, clicked on save, got saved. Now I'll come here. Now I'll keep the demands in not in the multiples of 500. So I'll say 999. I'll say here you know mm, 155, 255, whatever. Saving it. So these are the last run results because the demands are always met. Case of heuristics. Even now, even though I gave a crazy demand values, it still be respected. But if we go to the transportation, we can see the where the negatives are coming in and where the shortages are coming in. Okay, it is finished. Great. Yeah, demands are met. 9999 1555 2555 demands are met. But let's come to the location perspective warehouse. So what's happening there? Okay, you see the transportation is always happening in the multiples of 500. So the demand is 999, but it cannot do less than 1,000 because the minimum lot. Okay, I think there is no minimum lot size, so that's why it did. It did max it can do, that is 1,000. So if I maintained 4,999 for 499, it does the transportation of 500. That remaining one quantity it projects for the future. So next is 1555. It does the receipts of 2,000 and so on and so forth. And whatever is remaining, it projected it for future. So if the projected is coming to 500, so it would have reduced its transportation to 2,000 and utilized the previous week's projected stock. So that's how lot sizes comes into play, and then the maximum lot size is not respected by the heuristics. Okay, so now now we're done with the heuristic, guys. I mean, we have seen in detail. Now we'll get into the supply propagation heuristic. Supply propagation is just like the heuristic, but only thing is here it is not infinite supply plan and infinite uh, demand, and it is not the no shortages kind of a thing. Shortages would be there with the supply propagation heuristic, but other things like lot sizes and quotas and etc, they all are same. Balance receipts, all that stuff. So let's see the theory. you see here, in which only the available supply is propagated downstream to the supply chain. So in contrast to the supply planning heuristic, this algorithm only propagates the available supply downstream through the supply chain and does not fulfill all the customer demand. So this is a key here. Therefore, this allows the planner to see the impact of the supply problem. So he can see where the supply problem is. That is, which customer demands and net demands of which customer products and location products will not be met. So there are some customer demands which will not be met. You can go and track that down. So like for example, for the same Amazon customer, like let's say if there is another product like S13 and it might not be met, so we can go and see like where the shortages are coming in, you know, and also the location products demand. So because we have seen that a demand can also be maintained at a location level. The key figure name is independent demand. The name itself is signifying that the demand is independent of any other supply chain entity. It is not dependent on any other customer or in any other location. So if I go and say my independent demand at a plant is 1000, that means the 1000 sales order is directly hitting this plant, and this 1000 is not coming from any connected warehouse or from any other customer, etc. So now let's see, there are two forces here trying to collide. One is a demand and then there is a supply here. So supply is insufficient if the available supply is less than the demand. So when I say demand, what are the things that actually propagate the demand? That is, the demand is some of the dependent demands. We have seen the demands that are coming from other connected locations. Independent demands, we just saw what is an independent demand, plus the demand caused by inventory target. Because if I say my inventory target is 1000 units at a warehouse one, that is also demand element, and all these things constitute the demand. Now when we look into the right hand side, that is the supply part here. So here the sum of projected stock of the previous planning period, like see here in this we have seen this here projected stock one is being utilized, and then for the future transportations or production, right? So just like that, the projected stocks of the previous time period t minus 1, and assume that we are in the time period of t, plus the receipts. As I told, that receipts is some of the transportation receipts, production receipts, and external receipts. And if this didn't balance, that means there is an insufficient supply, and then only that insufficient supply, whatever supply has been there, only that only will be propagated to the customer and to the connecting locations. So that is a key difference between heuristic and supply propagation. Okay, so this slide is talking about why the insufficient supply comes in, because you are using an adjusted key figures, right? Or maybe some other like lot sizes, etc. We have seen it here, and then there is no source of supply is defined for a location product. So for example, in this diagram, so I can create, or maybe so I can say that there is another co-packer, and then the co-packer is also sending to plant 2, and then I said that this is 0.4, and then here there is a bomb on the source ID, that is 0.6. That means ideally, if the demand is of 100 on if the independent demand is of 100 at plant 2, so the plant 2 should distribute the demand of 1000, 0.6 to its production source, that means the bomb. It should do a production of 0.6 of the demand. Rest 0.4 has to be done by this co-packer, right? So if 1000 is a demand, 600 has to be production plan, in-house production, 400 has to be external location vendor, 0.4 has to be done there. So if we didn't specify any of the transportation lane or etc., so there, that is a point here. It is trying to say that there's no source of supply you maintain, which means that the location per net demand is not satisfied by any receipt. So there will not be any receipts, either there will not be any production receipts or these things. So, and also receipts are expected within the lead time horizon, right? So if the lead time is like, if you say in this example, if the demand is like, if the lead time is 10 weeks and you kept a demand of 999 here, so to send 999 from plant 1, it takes 10 weeks, so that the actual supply has to happen at week 10, but the run itself is starting from week 18. That means this will not be met, etc. So the lead times, how they will be there. So I'll show it to you guys here. Let me do a just quick run. I'll take off these lot sizes. Okay, and I also take off the validity. Just keep it there, and then I'll just do one thing. I'll bring the receipts, adjusted receipts. I'm adjusting the plan. Adjusted receipts is just the 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. Now let's see what happens. If I run a heuristic, the demands would still be met, but we can see the pitfalls in the negative projected stocks and etc. It's finished already. Demands are always met. So, but if I come here, so you can see that minus 554 negative is coming in, minus 444 negative is coming in, because it cannot, you adjusted the plan of 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, and that's how it will do. So now if I run a supply propagation, now you will see the difference. Supply propagation heuristic, the second option, you see it guys. I created one supply propagation heuristic, S12. So you can see here that the receipts are just 999 and then 1,001 and only 1,000. There are shortages here, so the demands are not being met completely. If I come here, the negative projected stocks will not be there. You see, the negative stocks are not there, so it can do, even though the demand is 1,555, it can do a receipts of only 1,000, and only that 1,000 will be sent to the customer. So that's the thing with the supply propagation heuristic, and it is kind of it's just a heuristic, but with the infinite shortest supply. So here in the TS based supply heuristic profile that I've created, there are four major things. One is a general information, primary parameters, limits for messages, additional parameters. Four sections here. General information, you will specify whether it's a batch or interactive and batch, and what level it is in. It is in week, etc. In the primary parameters, you see heuristic type here, two radio buttons. Either it is infinite without shortages, or it is supply propagation. So for the supply propagation, I have selected, created another profile for supply propagation. Yeah, it's a 10765 operator type. You see here, this thing, supply propagation. So supply propagation heuristics, I have selected this. That's why here we can see some shortages, and the supply has been respected, nicely. So yeah, just a kind of a recap, guys. We are done with the day now. So tomorrow we'll start with optimizer, and whatever scenarios that we have seen in heuristics, they also apply to the supply propagation. But it's just that the shortages would be there with the supply propagation. So today we started with the adjusting the plan. So this is all heuristic. Adjusting the plan, we have seen the results, negative stocks, 100% demand fulfillment. Next, what we did is balance receipts, and we have seen balance receipt with and without, and we have also seen the settings that has to be done, like profile settings. We have seen it here. And then what else? Master data settings, right? So I have also shown you that if you maintain as a one, that means that particular link will be excluded from balancing out. Like for example, for the transportation, if I say it one, so then heuristic will imply the quotas that are available there. If you don't maintain one, if you just leave it blank, that means by default the balancing receipts functionality would come in if you do the right settings in the profile. Okay, then what we did, we have seen the validities, right? And validities are there for all three sources of supplies: customer source of supply, location source of supply, and production source of supply. So what we did, we first loaded the master data, and we loaded the MD, and then we gave the we have chosen the horizons, so valid horizons we have chosen. Okay, and then what we did, again we did a profile settings. We have to tick mark saying like that, okay, heuristic, please respect the validities that I am maintaining as part of the master data. So what results we have seen, that system is discarding that sources and auto adjusting the quotas to the available valid sources, right? So what else we have seen? We have seen lot size parameters. Again, they are available for all the sources of supplies, but we have focused more on the transportation lot sizes, their min, max, and then rounding value. So here the key point is max is not supported by heuristic, but it will be done by the optimizer. We'll see it when we start with the optimizer. And we have also seen the some kind of intelligence that the supply planning can come up with. What is an intelligence? Pre-building the stocks to avoid these lot sizing constraints. If it can achieve it, it will do that, but if it is not doable, then it will obviously will not do. So because if in the first period itself, if you keep the lot sizing constraints, then it will not do any pre-building, right? But if it is coming in week 2 or week 3, it will do it in the previous weeks and try to utilize the projected stocks. And then what we have seen today, we have started with our supply propagation. So here we have seen some overview, and then we have seen supply versus demand comparison, and then the actual scenarios that differences between heuristic and propagation heuristic. This is what you have seen today, guys. So yeah, any doubts? Tomorrow we'll start with optimizer. Any doubts, Madhu, Srinivas, Vijay?
One question, like on the screen, you have multiple profiles, right? Which is a sales propagation heuristic, or
Yes, sir.
yeah, this one, right? So how does the system know that which one to take a precedence? Because we have multiple profiles there.
Yes, sir. Because when we're running it, so here in the run SNOP operator, it lists everything, every operator that is available. So now here there is one supply propagation radio button. If I click this, that profile would run. If I click the heuristic, that
Okay.
profile would run. So now I can create another profile, say that supply propagation heuristic without validities. That would be one. Supply propagation heuristics with validities, supply validities. And if the planner runs it accordingly, then that profile settings would be applied onto the supply planning run, and then the results would come accordingly.
So that means like if you create a like another profile, so
Yes,
that's
sir.
going to show up as a radio button there in that.
Yes, exactly. But only thing you have to do is just just log out and log in back. So
Yes, yes.
it's not that real time thing. Yeah, that's the only catch.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, try to digest this. Make a note of it. All whatever doubts that you have. So tomorrow, just shoot me, or you can send an email so that I'll work on that accordingly. And then lot sizing procedures, we'll see it when we start with the optimizer. Okay. And then there are a whole bunch of stuff that we have to cover in the optimizer. Okay, if there are no other doubts, we can drop off. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.